and welcome back to Backlog Archives, the show where we go year by year checking which games are worth checking out. In this video we are looking at 1977. According to Backlog, there are a total of 82 games released that year. For this video I narrowed it down to 7 games that are worth checking out. Ready? Here we go. The first game in 1977 that we will check out is Videocart 4 Spitfire for the Fairchild Channel F. Here you control a what is this thing? Judging by the covers, I guess we're planes. And apparently we're 1v1ing this red plane. Anyway, this game is much similar to Desert Fox, the game we played in the last episode. Except now you always need to fly forward at all times, and upon hitting your opponent you get this crash animation, to which your position and you of your opponent resets. For the achievements we essentially need to get a difference of 20 points against the opponent. And this sounds easy enough when you get into the first game mode and realize you don't play against AI. Again, until you get faced with the fact that in this mode you don't get the achievements. What you're actually supposed to go is to go to mode 2 where, look at that, we are actually playing against an AI opponent. And believe it or not, it's actually a really tough CPU to beat. What's even more fascinating is that apparently the bigger the difference in points are between you and your opponent, the faster and trickier the game gets as a result. Eventually though, I managed to get the momentum down quite fast. It only took me 12 minutes to master, so yeah, it was fun. On to the next one though. Videocart 6, Math Quiz 1 Edition Subtraction. Yes. It's just a plain maths game. I'm not sure why I'm adding this to this video, honestly. The only reason it took 7 minutes for me to master this game was because the controls were a hell to figure out. Apparently if you play with a controller, some of the controls overlap and you end up submitting your answer when you don't want to. Playing with the most awkward keyboard controls layout works though. And the same can be said about the next game. Videocart 7 Math Quiz 2 Multiplication and Division. It's only a little bit more challenging because of the multiplying and dividing, but that's it. On both games the achievements are a joke. Now here we have a video game with substance. Videocart 8 Magic Numbers challenges you to 2 existing strategy games. The first of which is Mind Reader, which is Mastermind with a twist. It is not with the colored pins that you might be used to, but instead it is with numbers, ranging from 2 up to extreme as a 5 depending on which difficulty you choose. In the traditional version without any time limit, you get 20 guesses, and for each guess you can alter the numbers and submit your guess to which you get feedback. An H meaning you got one of the numbers correctly on the right spot, and a T meaning you got a number correct but is in the wrong spot. This sounds straightforward and all, but this can be confusing as hell to figure out. Especially because a T can also show up for numbers that are already guessed, and even if they show up twice or even more than that in the same combination. Well, good luck figuring out if that's the case. For achievements around this game, most of them are fair and fun with the exception of this one. Hypnotist is an achievement asking of you to get 50 points before the CPU can get 30 in the game mode with a 5 number combination. In case you don't understand how points even work here, when you guess the combination correctly you get the remainder of the guesses you have in points. And the ones you lost, well, those are for the CPU. So let's do the math around that for a moment, alright? Because we haven't done fucking math in this video. To get to 50 points before your opponent gets 30, you have to essentially get 62.5% of the score from each round on average, which roughly responds to 12.5 points per round. So to put that into perspective, instead of 20 guesses for a 5 number combination, you now only have 7 for 4 rounds in a row. And look, I'm a gamer, alright. I can think of a tactic or two to help myself guess these things efficiently, but this is nuts. And luckily, it's not required to beat the game, so I just decided to move on. Nim is... Yeah, I haven't exactly heard of this game either. In Nim, there are 3, 6 or 9 random numbers. When it's your turn, you must choose one number and detract it by at least 1. Though you are allowed to detract more as long as it's the same number. Once you're done detracting, your turn ends. And once a number hits 0, the number is removed from the game. And once all numbers are removed, the player whose turn it then is unable to make a move and therefore is being the loser. Honestly, I like a game like this. The only problem is, The AI opponent likes this game better than you will always be able to. He just almost never makes a mistake. Literally, unless you from the first move you know exactly what you are doing and not make a single mistake yourself, this AI will just put yourself in an indestructible path of moves, which is just inescapable at that point. So you can imagine that I got bored of trying to beat this impossible AI soon enough. And also, it's not required to beat the game, so moving on! In case you guys were getting tired of the Fairchild Channel F at this rate, I got some good news for you guys! The next cartridge-based console that is worth taking some notes about is now upon us. The Atari 2600 was a very anticipated piece of technology back in the day, mostly due to the success of the industry-defining arcade game Pong at the time. So surely the launch titles of this console must be the greatest launch we've ever seen in the history of... Oh, for fuck! Basic math. 3 math games in a single year out of 7. How the hell did these guys look at Fairchild Channel F and were like, hey, this is a great idea to also do on our console? An even better question in my opinion though, why does this game have achievements? I mean, the gimmicks are fine around the achievements for this, but they just don't work. You have to freaking play with the difficulty and mode switches on the console, which in the emulators are mapped on some of your buttons on your controller, but I have given it the exact layout it wants, did the challenges for the achievements, and all that happened was that it got my time wasted. So yeah, to me it sucks, but this is officially going to be the first game I'm going to skip to beat. It's just not worth chasing a game that doesn't want to cooperate in my eyes. Anyway, moving on. Despite the rocky start in the Atari 2600 lineup, luckily there was also combat. If any of you guys remember Desert Fox and Spitfire, it is basically those games combined in one convenient package. You 1v1 a tank or plane and try and hit your opponent more than the opponent hits you. And this time it is with a time limit, specifically set at 3 minutes and 14 seconds. I don't know exactly why. The game also just never really gives you any timer. It just flickers all the objects in the game to signal that the time is almost up, to which the flickering stops when the game is over. The game approaches replayability by offering multiple game modes to play, which differ either from having a different map layout or adding another gimmick to the game, like where here the bullets that get shot suddenly have a ricochet effect when hitting walls. And honestly, for this being a launch title for a console that is as primitive as the Atari 2600, this is all great on paper, and I'm sure it will be great if you've had a second player at the time. The problem is though, I don't have a second player to play this game with, and just like with Desert Fox and Fairchild Channel F, it doesn't have an AI opponent. Luckily though, this time around, the achievements are a bit smarter to go around this, and instead focuses on gimmicks from the game modes and still providing challenging goals to go for at a given time limit. As such, it was still challenging and fun to play and master. So I did that. I probably don't ever feel like I should do that ever again though. Moving on! Before we move on to this next and last one though, I have to make a proper warning. The following game displays visual effects that will most certainly trigger seizures. If you are someone who suffers from that, you are likely to be better off to sit this one out. You can skip towards the following timestamps or just go to the next video. Otherwise, viewer discretion is advised. Alright, this last game for this video and year of video games is gonna be Video Game 10, Maze, Cat and Mouse for the Fairchild Channel F. This game is pretty self-explanatory. You are either a red or blue square, or indicating wise the mice, and you need to race to get to the other side of the maze. There are 4 types of mazes to choose from in total, all of which are required to beat at least once to beat the game according to the achievements. You have your traditional standard maze, then a maze that doesn't quite reveal the path until the player has moved into it, a completely invisible maze, and a maze that is completely covered. If that's not challenging enough for you though, you can also, upon choosing the maze, press the same button you use to pick the maze to spawn the cat. The cat spawns at the exit of the maze and tries to find and kill the mice. So you have to maneuver around the maze and escape with your life. For most mazes, that isn't too unfair of a challenge. It was actually pretty fun to have an extra challenge around this game like that. And I felt pretty satisfied when I pulled it off, except for when it was with the invisible maze. Screw that maze with a passion. There's just nothing fair about getting cheesed off a victory with an AI opponent that can clearly see where he is going based off how way too perfectly he is going towards you. especially when you have no way of remembering the layout of the maze. Simply put, the AI cheats here in my opinion, and you should not try and waste your time on that one. And that's it for this year of gaming. We played a total of 7 games and played 4 games before. That means we've now played a total of 11 games. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, leave a like, subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time.